What's up, everyone? Sean here with another Live to Roll live video. This week we're going to be talking about pressure sores and wound care. Um, but we're having a few technical difficulties with some of our guests right now, so we do have um, Bobby on as usual, and we'll have another Robert on. So we'll just do some quick intros right now while we're waiting. I am Sean, as you guys all know, C5 C6 quad from a snowboarding accident 17 years ago. Bobby, you want to introduce yourself real quick?
Not a problem. My name is Bobby Rohan. What's up, everyone? Welcome back if you're joining us live. If not, I'm glad you were able to check out our video. I'm a C5, C6 quadriplegic, 31 years from a bicycle accident, and we have a great guest, special guest, dear friend of mine, Mickey. Do you want to introduce yourself, Mickey Flower?
Oh, thank you, Bobby. Yeah, my name is Mickey Fowler. I was injured in 1984 on an ATC, the three-wheeled recreational vehicles they don't make anymore because so many people were getting hurt on them. And I'm a T1011 incomplete, and I'm glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
We're glad to have you, Mickey. All right, I'm gonna give you guys, if you want to introduce a little bit of the topic, Bobby, real quick. I'm gonna just try to call
Sure.
Robert one more time and see if we can
Yeah.
get him on here, and then but
So this is a topic that I know we want to ignore and not really bring up because it's something that we don't want to face. And in fact, I'm going through a dear friend of mine this week. She, she has probably a stage 3, her first pressure sore of 49, 50 years. She was hurt almost 50 years ago. And she's, freaking out, and it's a pressure sore. It's a stage 3, and she just doesn't know she didn't know what to do. She just thought like, oh, maybe it's just my cushion, just get a different cushion. And, when it comes down to it, the first thing that I tell anybody that you think you have something on breaking down from your skin, especially on your bottom, is you want to see a doctor right away. And that's the first thing you want to do, because really there's so many things that you can do with a pressure sore. And instead of trying to guess by putting on the wrong bandage, using the wrong ointment, maybe just staying off it for a day and then getting back on it, there's just a lot that can go on in those few days. And the quicker you get in to see a doctor that can assess it, to see if it's just on top or if it's bearing below underneath the skin more than you actually can tell. And so a doctor is going to look under a much better magnifying glass and lighting and really see what's going on, because there can be a lot of different underlying issues. I know, Mickey, we have you out as a guest because you from time to time have been dealing with this lately, and maybe you want to talk about yourself with what's been going on. And
Well, about 15 years ago, I had a pressure sore to the point where I had to have surgery. It was on my tailbone, and it just kept getting worse. And I realized what the problem was. I had lost about 50 pounds, and then I was on a Tempur-Pedic bed where the head goes up and the feet go up, and I was putting pressure on it, not even realizing it because I can't feel. And then all of a sudden, a telltale sign is when you find bleeding on your clothes and on the toilet seat, and something's going on. So I was trying to treat it myself, but that was so long ago. I don't remember what I did. I just know I had to eventually have surgery. But then, I don't learn from my mistakes because I just get complacent and I just forget. I'm sitting in bed. The bed doesn't work like it used to. So, but the problem is I was putting pressure in that area, not the exact same area, but around that area by propping up against the pillows, back against my headboard, and then I'd put a pillow on my lap, and then I'd put my laptop on my pillow so I could play games or whatever, use my laptop. Not even thinking I'm putting, because you know how you can get carried away and you're like hours later, you're still on your computer. And so I realized, I don't remember exactly when, but I had a little sore started opening. So now I'm being treated by Dr. God at Cascalina. I was never treated by him before. Oh, there's Robert. We got Robert back.
Yeah, we got Robert Soto.
Jeez.
So it's very tiny. It's very tiny, but he said it's a stage 3. But it's only like half an inch long, but it might be it's the depth that makes it whatever stage it is. Not so much the length or the width, it's the depth. And he told me something I didn't know. He said when you have a stage 4 wound and after it's healed, it's still considered a stage 4, but it's a stage 4 wound healed. I thought it meant you go to stage 4 and you gradually go to 3 and then 2 and 1. He said no. Once it's a 4, it's always a 4, but it's a healed 4. And I never knew that before. Same with a 1 or a 2.
Let's tell the audience, and I'm sure a lot of them already know, but when it comes to a pressure sore, there's 4 stages.
Yeah.
The 4 stage is kind of like that, where it breaks just the skin, kind of like a scrapey that you might have, some redness. That can be a stage 1, and
like an abrasion, right? Like an abrasion, yeah.
A bruising can almost be a stage 1. Stage 1 is really the skin is being compromised in some way. And then stage 2 is you might have some kind of opening, some maybe an oozing. And then when you get into the stage 3s and the 4s, and I'm sure there's a lot of medical terms that I don't have right in front of me, but what happens is then it's the depth of the pressure sore. And it can be, some people say, well, it's so really small. It's like the size of a dime.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter, because once it starts digging in and burying, that's what, can be the problem.
Right.
So Robert, we got Robert Soto on joining us, and you might want to, I don't know if you can put your
point your camera down a little.
Okay, yeah, because I can't. Okay, there I go. Okay,
there
now
we go.
All right,
Yeah.
All right, got it.
So now we can see good-looking Robert here. Robert Soto, a good friend of mine.
Confused. I don't know what happened. It took forever for my computer to reboot also. I'm just sitting there going, oh, man.
No worries.
We got the show started. If you want to do a quick intro, Robert, we kind of just introduce ourselves. You've been on the show before, but if you want to just give a quick intro, your self-injury and all that, and then we'll get back into the wound stuff.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your history with the wound.
Okay.
Yeah.
My name's Robert. I'm a T12 motorcycle racing accident from 1974, closing in on 47 years post-injury. And I've had a couple of serious experiences with pressure sores. And it's not good. If you don't catch them in time, don't take care of them in time, you're going to pay the price in the long run, taking care of trying to recover from it and rehab from it as well.
So tell us about those sores.
Okay.
Because Mickey explained that she almost had to have surgery on hers, but I know you did have a flap surgery. Is that correct?
I had a muscle flap there. In fact, the last one I had was at Rancho Los Amigos. It was a stage 4. It was one of those things that started out. And so what happened is, because I was ambulatory and used the crutches and braces, I didn't always have a cushion with me. So even though I went to places where there were chairs and they had maybe, that false padding, it looks like a padding, but it's really not. I mean, and I stood up and raised and everything like that. But the time that I'd be sitting, it'd be cutting off the circulation. So in the long run, the skin was red, and I didn't take the time to stay off it because I had to work and do all this other stuff, and I always thought it could be managed by myself, which was wrong. I was wrong on that. I was figured, and so little by little, the skin would break down, and before you know it, over a short period of time, it just takes off. And so I started going to the doctor when it was already beyond stage 1, I think. And so anyway, I had it where it got deep enough where it got to the bone, and I had a little bit of, was it osteomyelitis or whatever it is, to the bone infection. Mm-hmm. So when I had my flap surgery, they had to go and clean it all up, shave some of the bone down, because of the infection piece. I mean, it was so I was in bed for 2 months, but it took almost a year for it to heal completely. I mean, it heals up on the outside, but inside, because they took tissue from the inside of my thigh and did all this other stuff. I mean, it's amazing how the infection too was, you wake up in the morning, you feel fine. A few hours into the day, you're tired, you're running fevers, you're sweating, and I don't want to go through that again. And
yeah, that's scary.
This last one was the worst one. I had another one, but that wasn't as bad. But this one, the first sign of the redness, I should have just stayed off it. But
was that the only time you had a stage 4?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah,
But I mean, that's all you need is just one time, man.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was, like I said, it's really, because the thing is at the beginning when you first start to notice it, okay, you stay off it for a few days or whatever you need to, go see a doctor, because it's going to be quicker that way. And that's why you're supposed to do it. Look at all the time I lost. I almost lost probably a year just, waiting for it to really heal. I mean, you're 2 months in bed, okay, then they release you from the hospital. I was still like another 2-3 months just sitting up a little bit each day. And then I was able to start, getting back on my therapy and all that stuff. But it was debilitating big time in terms of letting it get that far.
It sure interferes with your life, doesn't it?
Oh, well, I had no life. It was like, it's just, and what it is now, because now I'm using the chair so much more, but I always have a cushion now. So that's the big piece there, because, I mean, I sit a lot now in the chair, but with my cushion, the skin has a chance to have cushion. There's no hard surfaces, and it's just something, I don't know how to say it enough to not let it get to a point. Don't even let it get red.
We're trying to scare people.
Well, you have to, because I tell you, it's and then once the skin breaks down there, the integrity is never the same.
That's
and
true.
mine was on my ischial, same spot as I had the first time when it broke down, but it didn't get that bad. But this last time, it was, it was pretty bad.
So, Robert, did you have a wound vac?
No, the doctor at Rancho, saw what it took, and there was no wasting time. They got me in there, and they put you on the bed, because you lay in this air mattress, and you just lay on your back, and they put the PICC line in you, they put a colostomy bag on you, and the whole thing, because you're laying on your back, and they don't want any chances for anything to infect that surgery area where they did the surgery. So you're 2 months on your back, just laying in the airbed. And so the colostomy was, I think, 2 reasons. First off, because they didn't want any accidents or anything like that for any chance of infection, and also easier to maintain for the nursing staff and all that for you with your bowel program and things like that.
Yeah,
But
That makes a lot of sense.
especially when you have a pressure sore. That's
right there. Yeah, real close,
Hey.
real close. So, go ahead.
I was just gonna see, do one of you guys have not Mike muted? Because I'm hearing a little bit of echo on Mickey and Bobby for some reason.
I know.
I just don't want
Is
that to be.
better?
Yeah, that is a little better, I think.
I
Okay,
don't
sorry.
know what we did.
Okay.
And that's why when you hear about colostomy bags with someone who has that kind of surgery, it goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
And then you reversed your colostomy bag, correct?
Yeah, I think what it was is, so I had my surgery was in October, and in end of April is when I had the reversal on it, and then it did that. So they still wanted me to still take it easy. So you figure I was already at 6-7 months already. So I went another 3 months, and then I went back to work and everything like that. And from that point on, I had cushions wherever I went.
And Robert, you can let people know, or you should let people know, you're incomplete. So you're somebody that actually is getting up out of your chair more often than somebody that's sitting in it.
Yeah.
Where just doing that pressure relief every hour or even less than that, because some of us, and me guilty sometimes, 3 hours later, I'm like, I didn't do an actual pressure release, but as you can tell, like Sean and we're like all over the place, and our butts are moving. So, I mean, I've always kind of dealt with that. And, and I'll give you my history of pressure sores. Luckily, nothing in too bad of an area, in the sense that the doctor, she called it a stage 3, because as I was looking up on the internet here, just real quick, and should have had this ready, but stage 1 is a non-blanching area, non-blanching of the skin, but your skin is intact. Stage 2 pressure sore is partial thickness skin loss with exposed dermis. Stage 3 is full thickness skin loss, and stage 4 is full thickness skin and tissue loss.
Yeah.
So I had she wanted to call it a stage 3. Mine was from, I had pneumonia, and I was coughing so much that it just wore a hole in my skin. Because when you're trying to do a cough, and you're just trying to get whatever's in your chest out. And so, next thing I know, not only I'm dealing with pneumonia, but somebody's like, "Uh-oh, you got something's on the bed," and I know that's not good. So
it's just, there's no way you could put it ever where you don't want a pressure sore. You want to do everything in your power from the beginning, new injuries and all that, to keep your skin clean, dry, just do everything you can, because you don't want it.
That's another big thing too, is dry skin. If you're sitting in moisture, I have actually been especially for how skinny I am, I have been very fortunate when it comes to pressure sores. I've had very mild, I know, I need to walk. I actually have had more sores and issues with my back and sides. Like I've had on my rib right here where I rub on my backrest, probably from doing my leans and things and stuff too much and not leaning off of it like that. I've gotten sores here twice. Once where I actually did have to have tissue cut out, and it got MRSA infection. It got a staph infection in there, and it was a mess. So I had to spend like 2 weeks in the hospital. But that was probably the worst one I've had. On my butt, my tailbone, I had like maybe a stage 1, a very, very light scrape. But I went to Land Meet Sea a few years ago, went water skiing all day, in the water, sat in my damp trunks all day, sat like just in the seat. By the end of the day, it was like an actual opening. And that was my other worst one. And that one, I spent about a month sleeping on my stomach every night, on my sides. And after that, and the little bit of wound care from home health, I was able to take care of it in about a month and a half. But so.
And I think you're right. And that's the key, Robert, is see somebody right away.
That was
don't relax on it.
Yeah, don't try to self-diagnose or anything like that, man.
And not to throw Mickey under the bus, but try not to do it yourself. Because and I thought, at first when I saw it, I said, we need to go over to CVS and maybe get some pads, and I'm reading honey, and I'm reading this, and I'm reading all this, and now I'm like, now I don't know what to do. And we started putting on some of those, and my wife said, it doesn't look good. It's not getting any better. So when I got to the hospital, he said, it's not that bad that you were putting on the honey. It just wasn't the right thing to do. It was a different kind of injury because of the way you did the type of injury by coughing so much. It's not that kind of injury. So
yours was a lot kind of like a shear, huh? From you. Yeah.
Well, what's frustrating is I'll never forget the date, September 22nd, at a video conference with my doctor. I sent her over a picture, and I didn't get seen by a doctor until November 3rd. Oh. It took that long to get authorization. So my insurance company just they were miscommunicating. Oh, well, we need this. Oh, I thought she already sent, that kind of thing. So when I finally saw Dr. God, I was treating it myself because I did get some ointment from or some cream, that silver stuff. Silver, yeah, but it's white cream.
Yeah.
I did get a prescription for that, and then I just put that on with just a big Band-Aid. But until I saw Dr. Gottney, you know how he's treating it with little collagen pads. In fact, I sent Sean a picture of it. And
yep, I have those. I can show
no
them.
ointment, no cream or anything. And when I was treated for the same one, actually, the beginning of the year, they told me to use A&D ointment. So everybody has a different idea. But I think Dr. Gott, he probably knows the best, so I'm using the collagen.
Yeah, and there's so many different ways to treat it, and I think that's why it's best to have a doctor treat it rather than yourself treat it. You know, because so I do hear like that in support groups where someone's like, oh yeah, I use Silverdane, and then everyone's like, oh, then I'm going to use that. It's like,
yeah.
I'm just trying to just use that, just make sure, or use collagen, you know, which is, there's a couple different ways to do the collagen, but you know, you want to make sure you're doing it the right way in the sense that when you get the collagen, you really kind of have to get it a little bit moist and then put it on the wound.
Yeah.
Not have it, you know, you don't put it on dry and you don't put it on too wet. So they'll teach you how to do this kind of stuff. And then do you put a pad on? You know, what kind of pad, you know, meaning like a 4x4.
Yeah.
Type of.
And then you got to be careful with the tape that you're using, because if you undo the tape and the skin is real thin there, I mean, there's all kinds of things to, you know, that's just go to the doctor. If there's any redness, go to the doctor. And, you know, it's not overreacting. It's just if you're spinal injury and things like that, you just got to go do that.
Yeah, that's the best advice, I think. Just make sure to see your doctor.
I want to tell people
I should listen to myself. You're looking back in hindsight. I didn't listen to that myself.
So does anybody know what a wound vac is? It's a machine that they attach to your wound, and it's basically in place of leeches. That's what they used to use. Leeches to draw out the impurities and to get the blood flowing. And that's what the wound vac did. But I actually healed at home. I wasn't in the hospital, only for the surgery. And then they sent me home, and I had a visiting nurse. So, but that was a lot of years ago when I had better insurance too.
Yeah, and most times that's the way wound care does go. That most of it can be done from home because it's really just you staying off it.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, that's what it comes down to, you know. And I've seen somebody have a wound vac, and I just happened to be over at a good friend of mine's house, and his wound was so deep, and just before she put it on, he said, "Show him how deep it is," and
oh man!
And images you never get. When I saw the Q-tip or the stick,
Oh God!
Like, whoa!
They had given me pictures that they took of me and all that stuff. So a few years later, I found them. I shredded those together. I don't even need to have any memories of that thing, man. Yeah, the Q-tips, they go in there and they show how deep it is, and it's unbelievable, man. But yeah, because I had to shave the bone. They had to shave the bone because it got osteomyelitis or.
And that's a good point, because you want to make sure there's no infection there too. Because even if you have a stage 2, there could be an area that could have gotten infected because it is the skin has been opened in some little way, and if you might have accidentally, because it's partial, stage 2 is partial thickness skin loss with exposure. So you want to make sure that, maybe any urine or, the other, it didn't get into that area. So, because that can also cause it worse. And so that's why, whenever somebody just says something about like, yeah, I got something going on, I think I can treat it. It's like, no way,
No way. Yeah, it's probably best, even if you think you got it under control, just see your doctor. Just, get some other eyes on it that are professional and can give you an opinion. It's just the safest bet because, like Robert said, he took almost a year out of him because of being stuck in bed off the wound and stuff. Like, you don't want to lose a year, so do a doctor's appointment.
So I think there was a few ways, first Sean brought up a good point just earlier, and we should probably continue that, what are some ways to protect yourself? Obviously we're thinking of, the first and foremost is having a good cushion. Making sure that your cushion is right for you. How do we make sure our cushion is right for us? Making sure if you're seen by a physical therapist that might do a pressure mapping, or a knowledgeable rehab tech that can make sure they look at the different areas of the chair and making sure there's not too much pressure over here or there.
Yeah.
So it's getting the right cushion.
I was going to say, do you want to explain pressure mapping a little bit for somebody that might not know exactly what you're talking about when they're doing?
Yeah.
So the pressure mapping, basically what Bobby was talking about, is where they actually put sensors under your whole butt or back and see where there's more pressure than not, so they can.
It'll show up red.
Yeah, they'll show up red spots, so they can alleviate those points, and you can even get custom cushions and things made to fix, so they take pressure off of that specific point if necessary. So,
and
sorry, Bobby,
it's important for the cushion to fit what you're doing for your lifestyle or whatever. Because I know for me, I've had several different cushions in the past, but I end up right now using a Rojo single chamber, all the dry flotation type thing. And so for me, I tried a different cushion, but because I would sit at a desk in my chair, I would slide to the very front of the chair. So without the Rojo, I'm sitting on some solid foam before, and that wasn't good. So once I got into the Rojo, so wherever I position my butt to sit, it's going to adjust what it needs to there. So for right now, I'm at my desk and I'm sitting at the front of my chair because my feet are on the ground. And so it's still providing, the flotation and where it's not creating any pressure. Where some other cushions that I've tried, where I've had the gel or the air insert, but everything around it is hard foam or solid foam, that would create a problem with me. So, once you find that cushion, I don't know all the cushion technology. All I know is that the one I'm using right now works, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And that goes. Another thing that's important about your cushion is making sure that it's it's intact. What do I mean by intact? For a Rojo, which is, it seems to be the one that most people will go after having some kind of pressure sore, or most use that from the very beginning. There is a way to have it overinflated and underinflated, and also cause a pressure sore. And it can happen just overnight or just throughout the day. So if you have it overinflated, it means you might be sitting up on too high, and it's not really doing what the Rojo is supposed to be doing.
Right.
It's just kind of sinking into it. But then if it's underinflated and then you sink too much, then you bottom out,
Yeah, you do. That's what you want to stay about a half inch from bottoming out, really. Yeah. Something like that. I think that's what they tell you.
Yeah, it's called the 2 fingers.
Yeah.
When you're sitting down, if you can go underneath between the 2 cells and you can have a 2-finger gap, then that means that it's inflated properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you don't know how to inflate it, make sure to get some help. You can, most medical supply companies or, chair supply companies know how to do it. Physical therapists should be able to help. You can talk to somebody that can help you get that right.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
And then go ahead.
Okay, and you should be able to, if you have any questions like that, your doctor should be able to give you some type of referral for to get a mapping or whatever you want to have some type of evaluation on your cushion, every so often, or just if you're not sure about what's going on with it,
Exactly. And then also maintaining the cushion. So, maintaining it with the air, but also those with gel. So some people have J cushions.
Yeah.
And the gel can actually sometimes move, where it might move all the way to one side or all the way in the back. So you want to make sure, it's called kneading your gel each day. So kind of taking the gel and fluffing it back into the areas that it should go into. And then there's some people out there that will use a foam cutout, where actually there's a cutout for the ischials, and giving a pressure release and making sure that you're not using your cushion too long where it's starting to condense a little bit too much. So you want to make sure that, you're properly maintaining your cushion, and maybe probably they say replacing it every 3 years to 5 years.
Yeah. That's good advice.
Yeah, that's good advice. I should have followed that. I was really bad I kept my same cushion for like 10 years of my first injury. And when I got my new one, I could see that it was about 2 inches shorter than this one. They were the same cushion, same foam, but I had condensed it about 2 inches down from 10 years of sitting on it. So yeah, you're 100% right, Bobby. Check your cushions, maintain them. I'm going to be a lot better on that now.
We forget about that, and we forget that over time things do happen. So luckily you were young, Sean.
Exactly.
Well, so especially now because the cushions are so advanced now. But when I first got my first cushion, they were different layers of foam because they would give you a mapping. So they start with a foam, and then they start cutting it up here for the cutout. But then they would have an area that was a little hot spot, so they add some different foam on there. It was all like handmade in the seating when I left the hospital at Rancho back in the 70s. I mean, that was all how they had the cushions. And then later on, when they started advancing,
And then, we'll go to keeping it dry. And then also looking at other areas in your life. So looking at your car seat, looking at your bed, so like some people will drive with the cushion. Some people will fly with their cushion on. There's some people that have to look at their bed and maybe have a special mattress, an air mattress or a memory foam, or something that has some give to it that you're not sitting there just like on a regular cheap hotel bed.
Yeah.
You're going to have a lot of pressure. And then it's maintaining your pressure releases throughout the day, making sure that every hour you're getting pressure off it for at least 2 minutes a day. And so some people will break it up that they might do it every 15 minutes. Some people will do it every half an hour, every hour. But you want to make sure that you're getting off your bottom for at least 2 minutes per hour.
Yeah, circulation.
Mm-hmm.
I know I have a padded toilet seat, a padded shower bench. I use a Roho when I drive. So I'm trying to be really careful that way. And then there's people that have problems with pressure sores on their feet. Or their ankles.
We actually just had somebody post in the chat that they just got one from their shower chair on their foot. So perfect, Mickey. Nice.
Yeah.
Really?
And that's the other segment. We can get pressure release. Sean kind of said it. Or a pressure sore from any parts of our body, that we always think about the bottom, but especially the ankles and the feet can also be a big problem because we don't feel it. Our shoes could be cheap, or the person that put up that they have one on their foot was because of their shower chair.
Yeah, and even if you tying your shoes, if you go tie the top of your shoes too tight, there's a circulation point there with that on your top of your foot. I mean, that's an issue. I know with me, with my leg braces, because I wear them every day just so I can get in and out of the car. When I get new braces, it's a process to put them on to see if there's going to be any redness. You take them off, put them on, take them off. And, the orthotics, they're constantly heating up plastic and molding that a little bit more, any type of protrusion on some type of bone that may stick out. But there's so many things that you got to be conscious of. Like you said, it could be anything, man. Just rubbing against the back of your chair when when you're doing a release or whatever. It's something that we don't know about because all of a sudden because I do a skin inspection. I've been doing that for years now, in the morning and at night before I go to bed, just on mostly the ischial area and all that like that. But there's some times when you go, what the heck is this? And you see something there because you haven't really been watching that area or anything like that. And it could be just from your side of your leg rubbing on the wheelchair that.
The strap the strap that goes behind our calves.
Yeah, the calf strap. Yeah.
Yeah, I took mine off because I started getting sore back there. It was rubbing on that strap, so I just took it off. I didn't need it.
And you don't want to pressure. The pressure sore, is almost like more of a pain in the butt to heal on your ankle and your feet than it is on your bottom, because the circulation is so far from there. So you know, it's definitely good to do a lot of area checks. And also for those that can't, like for Sean and I, maybe can't see behind there by getting a mirror or whatever, it's also good to have somebody look at it or take a picture of it, you know, as much as we'd hate to see that on our phone, you know.
In the cloud. Hey, you put it in the cloud, man.
But, you know, the cloud, dang it. But, you know, at least you can see it, because, you know, there's something, if there's one thing that I get kind of upset with when somebody's like, oh, I got a pressure sore because my nurse didn't tell me right away or something like that. It's like, well, you have a camera, take a picture, look at it, you know, make sure you're seeing what you're supposed to see, you know, don't rely on somebody else.
That's what one of our friends, Jeanette, I know Bobby knows you guys, but from the Northridge, Jeanette, she has her caregiver take a picture every single morning and night, she says. Every morning and night, she has a picture taken, she inspects it at night, and she inspects it again in the morning, especially if there was any light redness at night. She inspects the morning picture to make sure that has gotten better. And like, so she's a C5 quad also, and that's just, she's very diligent. She's more diligent than I for sure ever am. But that's good advice for people if you are really, you know, that's a good habit to get into if you can. So
I was just going to mention Jeanette, because in one of our meetings, she said that, I think it was Bobby, said, did you know that there's a picture of your butt out there, I think on the cloud, and she just forgot to delete it. Was it you, Bobby?
No, it wasn't me. Thank God.
She was out to dinner or something, and somebody texted her, so she deleted it really fast, but we were laughing about that, because that's easy to do.
Yeah.
And we have to know to drink or to eat protein, lots of protein.
I was just about to get that, you know, get to that. Yep. Your diet is important too, you know, I mean, skin breakdown can be caused just by having a poor eating habit or doing that thing that we shouldn't be doing. If somebody out there is the smokers, you know, smoking can actually cause, you know, poor circulation. So if we have poor circulation, what's going to happen? We're going to have a pressure sore. And I'd be curious, we had somebody, Tim, he says he struggled with anxiety daily about getting pressure sores. If you can let us know, is that because you had one, or you just did somebody scare you straight? So I'd be curious to know, because
hearing the horror stories.
I mean,
sure doesn't
horror
help
stories, and that's good. We have them, but really, you know, with the proper diet, with the proper pressure release, and that your cushion and your bed and the areas that you're moving to, maybe your car or the bed, is properly maintained, or, you know, has what it should, like maybe a cushion on your car seat, or some kind of memory foam, or pressure also relieving, or you're rolling enough at night that you're not getting a sore, you shouldn't really have to worry about it, like, you know, to where hopefully it's not going to cause you anxiety.
Yeah, but the key thing is you don't have to worry about it. If you do your inspections, do everything that you know, keeping your skin dry. Okay, so if there is a little redness, it doesn't mean it's going to happen. But you know, you're aware of it and you kind of stay off it or whatever. For me, it's just that I was, I didn't do all the right things. And I paid the price for it in terms of, you know, being laid up for a long time. So I mean, you know, I don't want to scare everybody, but I do want to scare, because you don't want to get to a point where you're getting a muscle flap and all that stuff.
Yeah, having a C5 surgery, that actually does scare me, and always has. Like, I don't have anxiety about pressure sores, but I do think about it. Like, you know, I do my back things, like I go back for the blood pressure, but you'll see me, I push off with my elbow, and I'm like leaning my back off the backrest too. So I'm going, because I know I'm leaning into it, so I want to get off of it. And then my butt, I'm constantly trying to, you know, move forward or shift, at least, because I can't do a full lift up. I don't have triceps or anything to do that. So like, you know, I'm sure Bobby, you do the same thing. Just stick your head down between your knees, kind of just get the pressure off. Like,
What I do is I kind of put my head on the end of my desk, and then kind of bring my butt forward just a tad, and then as long as I know I can feel behind me and I'm getting off my butt because I can get my hand underneath there. So, and I just kind of hold it for 30 seconds. It feels good. It feels like a good stretch and
Stretch, yeah, exactly.
Like Sean, it helps with my blood pressure as well because I'm like, it's like blood flowing. Finally, move it around and so you know.
Plus, for me, I fidget so much in my chair. I don't sit still, so I'm constantly moving, And so, I mean, that probably helps somewhere because I do my raises, but not as probably like I should. But it's because I'm constantly moving in my chair,
Yeah.
I personally think that does help a lot because I'm the same way. And so early on in my injury, and this probably isn't the greatest advice for people or any, but I was told my buddy Mike DeYoung, who is also one of my early people that helped me, Bobby, and then Mike kind of came along and gave me an extra nudge on stuff. He was like, he's about the same level quad, and he always told me like, yeah, I don't do a lot of actual pressure reliefs, but I move around a lot and I transfer a lot. So he's active, and that's what I started doing. Like, if I'm home or I'll transfer out of my chair every couple hours just to get like a whole new seating position, new pressure points, and then if I get into the couch, I can lean more. I can lift my butt up off the couch. So I just stay really active is like my whole thing, like moving, transferring, and all that. I think helps me a lot. And
I know for all the years I've gone without it, with just because I sat too long, it was more because I was getting in and out of my chair all the time driving. And I notice now that I'm not doing that. I'm working from home now, and I don't have to go out as much. And probably since March, I've only filled up with gas literally 7 times.
Yeah, you're getting weeks per gallon.
There was a trip to Fresno in there, and I still only filled up maybe 7 times. So great for my gas bill. Not great for my body sometimes because when I was getting in and out going to work, it just felt good to get into my car seat. Like if I do go do an errand real quick down the street and have my wife run into the store, it's just like I sit in my car going, oh, it's something different because the pressure relief is different.
Yeah.
So do you, Bobby?
Swimming was wonderful too. I loved swimming.
Swimming is great because that's a full pressure relief too. You're getting it all, completely weightless and stuff. That's great. Yeah. I was going to ask you guys all. I know, Robert, you mentioned driving. You sit on a Rojo sometimes. What do you guys have in your car do you guys have any type of cushion or anything? Or do you sit on the regular seat? Because I do sit on my regular seat, but I have started to worry about it more. Like when I'm on a couple hour drives, I think about that's probably a long time to be on there.
Yeah.
So what do you guys have in your cars, just out of curiosity, or anything?
For me, I don't really have one for all my local drive. If I'm gonna do any distance driving, I'll have a cushion, But for the most part, because for me, it's sometimes when I get in, I don't lift probably high enough to get that cushion position right. So I spend more time fidgeting with that cushion while I'm driving because I'm trying to get it all lined up. So if I'm going on a longer ride, I'll have a small pad. I have an old, I don't even know if they still have them. They're called Packet. It's an old Rojo, little 9 by 6 or whatever it is, cushion that just cuts. I sit on it for the ischial area, and it's an inch thick, and it's a Rojo, and I use that. And I've had that for years. And so that's what I kind of just, because like I said, for me, I have I don't have normal feeling. I have dull sensory type things. So even a little pleat is just bugging me. It doesn't hurt. I know it's there. And trying to get that, it's like when laying in bed sometimes, my waistline, if I'm laying on my back and there's a wrinkle, it's driving me nuts. And so there's certain things that, it's a distraction for me when I'm driving because I'm messing with the cushion more than I'm doing anything else. So it's easier locally in these short little rides and stuff like that not to have a cushion for me. And again, the thing that I've learned out of everything is I'm always inspecting my skin. Always.
Good. All right. What about Mickey? Do you use anything in your car, or you just drive regular on the seat, Mickey?
I have a thin one for just driving around town, and then a low profile Rojo, a thin Rojo for driving around town, and then a low profile for driving at long distances.
Okay.
So.
And you don't use anything, Bobby?
No, I'm in your camp, and
Okay.
that's why I don't do the long drives. I mean, I try, if I'm gonna do a long drive, it's under 4 hours nowadays. I mean, or if I did something like more than four, if I was going up to the Bay Area to see my brother, it would be 2.5 hours. Take a break where I go in and have lunch somewhere where I just actually get in my wheelchair, have lunch or something like that. So,
take a break.
It's more, nowadays too. It's not even my pressure release; it's my endurance and just getting tired and just like, oh, okay, for the arm is getting tired. You're holding the gas. It's, especially if you're not using cruise, because people these days just drive so fast on you. You're like constantly on that, in that cruise control so many times. I'm just like, all right. Sometimes it's just easier not to. I don't.
Sometimes it's just easier to drive in traffic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I hate driving in traffic. I love my cruise control. So when there's no open highway, I'm like, but no, I do the same thing. I actually just about a month and a half or so ago, I actually drove to San Luis Obispo for the weekend. But even that 4-hour drive, I stopped in the middle. I got out of my car about 2 hours or so. Ate, like you said, but it was COVID time, so I just ate in my car, but in my chair. So I just in the back of the van in the chair. But yeah, I just did that for the same thing, just to get out of my driver's seat, the hard seat. I got back on my Rojo cushion, was able to do a little pressure relief, hop back in the chair, and finish the drive. So 2 hours is kind of my max. I like to get out after more than that. I feel like my back and butt are burning, and I don't know if it just.
I just I'm the same thing.
Right on.
Yeah, some days are better sitting than others. There's some days where the side, there's a certain area that just feels tender. There's nothing wrong with it or anything. It's just whatever's going on with it. And I'll have to have a cushion or something, just prop it up underneath. It's like my hip, between my hip and my ischial area, because there's no muscle left there anymore. So sometimes it gets an ache. So I'll stuff like a small cushion there, just a foam covered cushion, and that gives me some support. But yeah, it's for the most part, I don't use too much of a cushion.
And I mean, I have seen and I have heard, for myself, I've never used a cushion under where I drive, or even sometimes when I fly, because when I'm sitting on top, like you said, Robert, you're trying to adjust it more to
get
it.
It's just.
But I have heard where people do a cutout. They take their car to an upholstery shop where they'll do a cutout and drop that, open up that seat so they can't put a cushion inside there. So you're not sitting up too high, and not the Rojo just sitting down in there.
Also, if you're using a Rojo when you're flying too, the elevation, because that thing inflates so you can have it set on the cushion. All of a sudden, your elevation changes, and that thing, changes.
Take air out before you get on the.
Yeah.
That's good advice. Yeah, for the plane.
Because all of a sudden you're sitting on the cushion and it's hard again. It's just getting hard.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, because that's the one time I'll sit on my cushion usually on plane rides too, especially over an hour. Those seats are pretty hard. Yeah. Plus they're low, and sitting up on the cushion, and that kind of gives me a more level. Actually, makes me sit a little better and easier for me. Anyway.
Turn my fan on.
Okay, here you go. Okay. And I'm just going to I actually just showed a little banner, but while we're in a quick lull, I'm just going to shout out, coming on Thursday at 3 p.m., we're going to start having monthly women's show. There's a little banner up right now with Brianna hosting every third Thursday of the month, and starting in 2 days. So just shout out on that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's a whole another edition.
Also, right now, if you don't mind, Sean, if I can do a shout out that this weekend, November 20th.
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yep, as the virtual support group, virtual abilities expo. So if anyone wants to see a virtual abilities expo, we're all used to going and seeing one. It's this weekend. It's virtual. They're going to have more interactive live chats and discussion groups and things like that.
Yeah, it looks like it's gotten a lot forward advanced than the first one they had. So it looks like they've learned a lot, and they're going to have, like you said, interaction. There's going to be live chat and question and answers and just different things. Looks pretty good.
Yeah. But we're excited about that women's live live to roll taking over.
Yeah, that's going to be a cool thing once a month, every month. But yeah, so just wanted to shout that out and post that real quick. But yeah, the Abilities Expo, we actually did the little talk last week on the Abilities Expo with Julianne. And I know they're going to have a lot of cool stuff this time, and they're really trying to, they listened to everybody and took everybody's input, really trying to improve it and make it better. So that's really cool. Great stuff to check out there. And I'm sure there will be some stuff on wound care and things. There's usually medical supply companies and whatnot. So yeah, it's great event. And yeah, thanks, Tim. People have been liking the advice so far. What else do you guys, we're getting towards the end, but do you guys want to throw in anything else? I know we mentioned, one of the questions I was going to say is, when to see your doctor, but I think we established immediately is the time to see your doctor.
Yeah, it's something that's out of the norm for you. I mean, like I said, if you know your skin or whatever, and you see something that doesn't seem right, I'd rather be overcautious than not exercise that caution.
Yeah, it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, and I go to I have a wound care center not too far from my house, and I've seen them maybe 5 to 8 times, and they're except for the 2 times they had to do something, they're like, nothing. It's nothing that you're worrying. But I'm glad we're looking at this. We're taking a picture, so we have it charted. We have what it looks like, and really just this is what you should do. Just kind of put a 4x4 pad. They're not they give me some they told me to buy, and I just wear that for a week, and I'm like, okay, good, the redness is gone, or that area is gone. Or they have said to put on a certain cream, like a zinc or AD.
Yeah, AD is a one that's usually pretty recommended. I know for basic stuff.
I like that Manuka honey. The Manuka honey pads, I like those for just abrasions. Those are for just abrasions.
I'll show that again on camera real quick. The Manuka honey pads.
CVS.
Yeah, and something I forgot to talk about is we talked about cushions and knowing your butt, but also knowing the clothes you wear too. Some people forget about jeans, underwear, the type of underwear. You can have it too tight, or the whitey tighties could be cutting in for us guys.
I was told when I was released from the hospital after the one surgery I had years ago not to wear jeans because of the seams on the pockets and everything like that. So for a while when I first got out, okay, so I kind of adhered to that. So I went and bought cargo pants with no seams on the back, but I'm back to wearing jeans now. But when you think about it, they have the rivets, they have the heavy seam for pockets, all the seams that they have back there. So that can create a problem if you're sitting a lot without the proper circulation, proper cushion, and all that.
And
this was about 4 or 5 years ago, but I had this little red spot, and I was like, And they said, yeah, it's still there, and it's not getting worse, but I wonder what's causing this little red spot. Finally, it would only happen once a week. Then I realized, looked at my pants, and there was a button on the back of the short. Wooden button.
One button could have changed everything for you, man.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, duh. And I should know better. I've been in a chair for 25 years at that time. I should have known, and it's, you forget sometimes because you just kind of go on with life, but looking at your clothes is very important. Making sure they're not too tight, or they're, digging in somewhere that they shouldn't. So
just wear sweatpants.
Yeah. Just
lounge. Mickey, 6 months in the hospital wearing sweatpants that they put on me every day. Yeah. I swore in my life I'm never wearing sweatpants again.
I'm kind of in the same boat.
I'm not.
We had a question Should I use cream on my skin where I had previous sores? So if somebody had previous.
Yeah, so that's a good question. And, one, I would talk to your doctor about what proper cream to use. I wish I remember the name, but, you can go onto Amazon and I believe Medicare. Let me see if I can find it really quick for you guys. But there was a cream that, will help build up and make your skin healthier and stronger. Let me see if I can real quick.
Over the counter cream?
Yeah, it's something you can get on Amazon.
Oh, you said Amazon. Okay.
That's cool. Yeah, anything like that's always good advice and good help. And like we were saying before, once you have the wound, like Mickey said, or maybe it was Robert, you guys, once you have a stage 4 or stage 3, it's healed, but it's never gone. So
the integrity of your skin is never the same.
Exactly. So you always have to be careful at that point, that spot, from that point forever.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, it's just like, because my cushion is a 4-inch. I use everything high profile in terms of in my chair and all that. So because I'm high risk with that.
Yeah.
I wanted Medline. Oh, I'm gonna find it, but there are some creams that will help strengthen up. Oh, so it's called. So the skin is Medline Remedy skin cream moisturizer, but you got to make sure that you're not putting on too much because it will. Then you got your wetness down there, so you don't want to do too much, just a little bit.
Right.
But there are some creams, and I would always talk to your doctor before using something like that.
Yeah, that's good advice. And then, do we have any other questions from anybody out there in the chat, or anything else you guys want to make sure we mention and get in there for anything preventative?
I just don't want to, like we were saying earlier, don't want to scare people, freak them out on that. But it is important because, and it's just taking the necessary steps. It's not really hard to just keep your skin dry, clean, inspected, and like I was saying earlier, nutrition. So it's just things that we should be doing anyway, just for better health. So,
and also. Somebody wants to get fed here, so you know. But making sure that you're eating a proper diet, not doing the smoking, if you can help it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah, Christopher, just out of the chat, somebody's mentioned that, don't use cream as a, instead of pressure relief.
Yeah.
Cream is just an addition to still doing pressure reliefs and getting off your butt. Definitely a good point there, Christopher.
We're doing all this talking, and now my butt's bugging me sitting in this cushion.
I know, that's not really. I feel like extra fidgety today. I'm like, oh, my back, I really got to get off of it.
It's like going to a pain coping skills class. You're fine until you start talking about pain. All of a sudden, you're focusing on pain.
Tell me about it. And then I just see right now is they got a sore on their tailbone, but how do you keep the bandages from curling up? That's a tough one in the sense that
that is hard.
The butt is not just like, a flat piece of area, so it's all rounded. The they
have bandages. They have the bandages that are set for certain things like that will have adhesion no matter what,
Okay.
You have to get a real big one.
Yeah, maybe a little extra tape on the corners. Just be careful with too much and peeling it off, for more skin breakdown.
Careful with tape you might.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tape. There's a lot to kind of learn about. But if you go to a doctor and you start practicing what, the remedies and things like that, you'll get it dialed in. But there's just a lot of cautionary steps you need to take.
Right. And one last question. Somebody asked what helps heal bed sores for food-wise. Protein. It's really you want to get the protein in. And there is something called Prostat that you can find on Amazon. Prostat. It's it almost like cough medicine in a way. You would take a shot once a day or twice a day. and that has some kind of protein, it says, and medically proven, and they do give it in the hospitals for those who have wound care. And so it's supposed to help with the protein and getting your skin healthier to hopefully heal those pressure sores.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Sean, for inviting me. I really enjoyed being on this
Cool.
Skype, YouTube, whatever it is.
Yeah. On the
Live
YouTube,
to
yeah, on the
roll
live
TV.
stream.
Live to roll. Live to roll.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. Appreciate Robert and Mickey coming on to share your knowledge, and
Thank you
Bobby, of
anytime.
course, you for being on with us and sharing your knowledge and everything. And like I said before, we're back. We're here every week for live shows on Tuesdays, and then the third Thursday of the month we'll be doing women's shows at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So figure that out for different time zones. And yeah, like we said, thanks for joining, guys. We will see you next time, and live to roll.
Hey,
All right.
take care.
See you
Bye-bye.
later. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second, Sean.
Oh,
I'm just
okay, not
putting
ending
it-
yet.
Just letting them know. Here we go. Okay.
Okay.
Just wanted to let them know what that was called, Prostat. So.
Oh, if you post
and
it
then-
in the chat, I can post it on the screen real quick.
Okay. So yeah, it's Prostat. It's about $25 a bottle, but it's a pretty
There we
big
go.
bottle. So you can look into that and being a vegan. I'm not sure a lot on being a
Ross
vegan,
vegan.
but
Oh.
look at some other protein shakes and what's it called? Was that that stuff called Sean? What is it called? With not it's in miso soup. What is that stuff called? Why am I drawing a blank on it?
Like soy, or not soy. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Tofu, or like tofu. That's what I was thinking. Tofu. That's what it is.
Oh, tofu.
So-
There you go. And somebody put that. Danette actually put that she's a vegan mother, and she uses plant fusion protein from Amazon. Because somebody said that they're vegan. So if you're looking for protein, there is vegan proteins and stuff. All right, guys. I think
All
we
right.
lost our guest, so we'll see you everybody soon. And thanks for watching, everybody. See you guys next week.